All right. Hey, so the first tip here is to be flexible when you have to do a presentation, as sometimes things don't always go the way they're planned. So, hi again, everybody. So, Irwin Siongco here. I represent Verizon again as a multi-year sponsor, and I had to make a little bit of a pivot this year. So, I decided to do something different. When I presented to the group that participated last year, we spent most of my presentation talking about some of the technical insights around what we do from a connectivity standpoint as Verizon, as well as kind of really went deep into the digital inclusion work that we do to support STEM and schools and folks like you to continue to be successful in growing your knowledge and experience to help better help the world and connectivity, especially here in Hawaii, which is one of the states that I'm responsible for in the work that I do. So again, a little bit of a different approach here because I thought it'd be best to kind of just share as somebody that presents quite a bit in my role today, that I'd give you some tips and tricks around presenting. And I know you'll get additional support and additional insights from one of the previous winners in a future workshop, which I would highly recommend you attend. But at least from a baseline foundation standpoint, I look to share some basic tips and tricks again to maybe help you in separating yourself, because again, the solutions are definitely the stars of the show, but again, there is a presentation element that you'll get scored on as well, and potentially, just like I experienced last year when the scores were pretty close from a technical standpoint, the presentation is potentially what's going to put you and your solution over the top to win the competition. So what I'll start with first is for the group here. Again, foundationally, there's a special skill that generally has to be developed, and I'll call that skill potentially comfort when it comes to being able to share your vision and your ideas successfully, right? And again, this is probably not new to anybody on this call, but if you have any challenges around presentation, fear of public speaking, fear of losing the, there's several things here that are highlighted on the screen that could potentially prevent you from being successful in getting your ideas and your visions across to the audience that you're presenting to. So what I'll do now for a second, and I'll need some assistance here from Thelma and the team. I'm going to make this a participation point. I'm going to give you a couple of names, and based on the names that I give you, I'd like for you to throw in the chat who you think is somebody that is or was deathly afraid of public speaking. So first name is Abraham Lincoln. You've got Warren Buffett. You've got Samuel L. Jackson, and then you've got Mark Zuckerberg. So out of those folks, type in the chat, who do you think is deathly afraid of public speaking? And Thelma, again, I can't see, so let me know if you've got a couple of answers showing up in the chat.
Yeah, you even put Thelma in there.
Oh, yeah, you throw Thelma in there, okay. All right, so who seems to be the name that's thrown out the most?
Well, you have a lot of people saying all.
Okay. Okay.
I think Abraham Lincoln seems to be coming up. Mark seems to be coming up.
Okay. Well, here's the thing. You guys are all absolutely right. And obviously, this is a very sharp group because for all of you that said all as well, these are all examples, folks, of people that, again, are deathly or were deathly afraid of public speaking. But as we look back in context over their lives and what they have done or what they do today, you definitely wouldn't necessarily think that these folks are still in that state of mind, right? And so one of the common threads amongst all of these folks is it took work, right? And so there was either classes that they took or there was practice that was done. There were mentors that were supportive of them. But again, it was something that took work and it wasn't something that came naturally to these folks. So when I think about presenting in, kind of in my own head and from my own experiences, one of the best ways to be able to capture your audience, right, is to start by telling a story. And so having some element of being able to, again, create connection with your audience is super important. So that's one of the ways that you can do that. I think one of the ones that I'll share now with you is that, from a Warren Buffett standpoint, again, somebody I think that we all know and respect for what he does from a financial and an investment standpoint. He's obviously a public speaker himself at this point and probably commands one of the highest rates when it comes to his public speaking appearances. But one of the things that he said about self-investment as you as an individual is that, focusing on your communication skills is one of the things that potentially can improve your value by 50%. And he took a class in presenting that actually is, supposedly, this might be an urban legend, but they say it's the one certificate that he keeps posted in his office. And so I thought that was an interesting take on the fact that this gentleman, that again is, kind of the Yoda of investing and business, his key and certificate that he's most proud of is the one that was around his class and presentation. So now some other ones, again, that are, you probably heard before: smile and make eye contact with your audience. That's obviously very important. Working on your stage presence. I'm super excited that this year this is going to be in person. So obviously there's tips and tricks that are specific to the virtual environment, but being able to deliver your presentations in person, I think, is always fun and exciting, and again, potentially even more impactful because, again, that ability to connect in person. So showing your passion is obviously important. Plan your delivery and practice are, again, some tips and tricks that I would share in regards to making sure that you hit a home run when it comes to your presentations that you've got coming up. Now, when I talked about starting strong by telling a story earlier, again, any way that you can get your audience to connect is going to be very important. So when you think about the solutions that you're solving for, again, some backstory about why you chose that, the impact that you believe it will have, and some of the potential impacts that have already happened or that you perceive based on what you've built for the users is going to be extremely important to get across to the judges, right? We want to be able to connect to that solution beyond just what we see in a demonstration or what we see on some slides or some statistics, but really being able to envision and understand how that's actually going to play out in the real world when it's in the hand of your end users, right? So that's one thing that I would make sure that, again, you guys continue to focus on in building your preparation and your presentations. Now, again, working the stage, now that this will be in person. Now, Thelma, I don't know if they'll have an opportunity to be kind of Shark Tank style where they're like in front of the judges, or they'll be sitting down and presenting. But either way, again, being in person does create an opportunity for you to connect with not just what you say and what's on your slide, but also through eye contact and facial expressions, body language, etc. So again, you'll see a list of items here that in any class that I've taken or given around presentation, that these are common things that we always speak to. And again, I can't see all of you right now in my presentation mode, but how many of you have seen the movie Talladega Nights? I'm assuming a couple of folks here. Will Ferrell, right? Pretty funny movie. And there's a scene in that movie where he's actually being interviewed after winning a race. And he has this thing where he's like, he doesn't know what to do with his hands. And so they continue to just kind of rise into the camera shot. So it's an exaggerated version of what you're not to do. But again, I think it's pretty accurate in all elements of your hands, your eye contact, and your body movement is very important in not being distracting when you're presenting in person or even on a Zoom call, right? Because again, that can be distracting even virtually. So, all right. Now, planning, obviously, like with all things, is very important, including in your presentations. So well, the way that we like to think about it in the Verizon world is that there's several types of meetings and presentations that you'll potentially give. And by being able to identify the type of meeting or the elements of that meeting that need to be able to come across, it does a ton in helping you prepare and building that agenda for that meeting. So, the way we like to tend to look at it is there's informative meetings, instructional meetings, decision-making meetings, and then persuasive meetings. And I think in that potential presentation you're going to be doing here shortly, it's probably a combination of the informative and the persuasive, understanding that you're trying to teach us about your solution and help us understand what you built, but also persuading the judges to select your solution as the winning, winning solution. So now visual aids are important as well. So charts, graphs, again, live demos are always impressive, and I believe are a mandatory element of the presentation. So those will obviously be there when you guys go and present. But videos and photographs, and again, anything that kind of create additional context and color in your presentations is always valuable and always helpful as well. So, and if again you can have some form of interactive component. I think James earlier obviously had a couple of fun ways for you guys to win gift cards. I asked you guys a couple of questions, so you can see some of that in play real time with the presentations that you guys saw today. So, all right. And then this one goes without saying, practice is obviously very important. It may seem a little cheesy, but I'll tell you, after working in my industry and being an executive for the last 10 years, I still have to do operations reviews. I have to present in front of the public, for customers, for my employees, and so again, for me, there's nothing better than practicing. And even with all the experience that I have, I still find time to make sure that I read my notes, time myself. Potentially, I don't practice in front of a mirror as much as I used to, but I do remember one of my very first presentation classes, we actually were recorded. And then we would watch the recordings from the beginning of the class versus the recording at the end of the class to see how much we progressed in our presentation skills. So strongly recommend, again, somebody that's been doing this for a very, very long time. It's still something that I practice in, again, several of these best practices that are listed below. So, and I know you're probably looking at that second to last bullet and going like, how many times did he say or ah or like? So again, still, and so is one of my filler words. Still a lot of improvement that I can still do myself as well. But again, just a tip from somebody that's been doing it for some time. So, okay. And with that, I know, again, you'll get a more comprehensive breakdown about how to present successfully. And I am one of the judges, so I'm excited to see some of you present in November. But any questions for me?
I'd like to comment on one of your questions, and I put a note in chat, is we're going to be in person. It will be a panel of judges in front of you. I don't know if it's a formal stage that you're lifted up, or it'll just be a slight lower stage, but you'll all be in front of the presenting people. Will be in front of the entire audience. So it could be up to this place that we're holding it holds up to 125 people. So expect to be presenting in front of a larger group, and that can be a little intimidating. I know I get nervous. So I'm one of those people who somebody said, put my name on the list. They're absolutely right. So this is a good chance. Irwin has a lot of experience. He's been there, done that. So if you have any questions on maybe how to do it, that would be great. So.
Okay, then. Thank you, Irwin. I have filler words too. Mine is and I tried to stop myself by counting the number of times I said it during a public talk, and that helped me. I was too embarrassed to go on. But anyway, thank you for that. I say
right all the time, right? Right.
Right.
I had to break that habit. That was nasty.
Yeah. Okay, again, thank you for the presentation and for Verizon being a terabyte sponsor for this year's event. Next, we will hear from George Lee, the HACC technical manager.
He said he couldn't be here till 1:30 at 12:30. I don't see, is he on yet, Sheila?
I don't see him.
Okay, so we're gonna have a little filler. So again, if you have any questions for Irwin or me or anybody else, this is a good time to ask them. So and I will see if I can get a hold of George and remind you. He told me, now I'm not going to get weirded out. He told me he would be here exactly at 12:30. So let's be patient and give him a few minutes. And I will mention that we haven't used recorded demos for a few years now. They do have to be live demos, and that's one of the reasons, if you depending on your solution, we may have to practice that we can have you do it. We can do it in the open room. It wouldn't be an issue with virtual judging day. So that's one of the reasons we're having the tech check the day before, is to make sure that you can do your live demos. So one of the ways to do it is make sure that you have a viable link to provide. I may need to have everybody bring everything to one computer. So that's what we're going to need to figure out that day. So that's one of the reasons why I'm asking you to come the night before, if you can, or providing me your materials by that afternoon. So that's good. I also want to again reiterate what's going on with Slack. Salesforce is one of our sponsors this year, and they have provided us with a pro version of Slack. That means that the ability to do huddles is wide open. You can have up to 50 people in a huddle. I don't think your teams will be that big, but that'll be great. And there's no 30-minute time limits like there is on Zoom if you're doing the free version. And it also lets you share files and screens and so forth. Bottom line is that that'll be a good way to huddle. If that's the case and you want to have a private channel for your team, let me know that. Once all your documents in, I'll create the channel for you and add all your teammates.
Hey, Thema, I've got a question while that's going for the group that could be as if I was in the group.
Yeah, go ahead.
From a presentation standpoint, your clothes matter too, right? Because obviously you have to cater to the environment, and then also you want to be comfortable. You don't want to have a dress or a suit that's 2 sizes too small and it's kind of hard to breathe and talk. So with that being said, what is the dress code for the presenters?
There's no dress code per se. I favor that you at least dress what I call business casual, meaning, you know, a nice pair of shorts and a nicer top, like a aloha shirt or something like that, or you know, women have a little more flexibility with dresses and skirts and stuff like that than guys. I'm just going to ask you not to look like you're ready to go to the beach because it's in person. We did have one year we had a beach theme and we encouraged you to come in bathing suits, but not this year. Casual business casual. I'm going to put it that way. No torn t-shirts, no ripped up, you know, holes in your jeans. The reason I'm emphasizing this is because that wouldn't fly in any other environment. So one of the things I do with my other hat is I train entrepreneurs how to give pitches for raising funds. And while they don't mind you being a little, you know, if you had a really cool app and you were doing something, you were like Mark Zuckerberg could come up in, you know, torn jeans and a torn t-shirt and no one would care. But when people don't know you, what you wear, as Irwin's pointing out, is really important. It just shows that you're taking the audience seriously and want to be taken seriously in return. So thank you for asking that question, because I never think of it. And then sometimes people show up and I think, oh my God, I should have said something. So.
Well, and I'll say this, Thelma, like previously in my career, I worked in the Bay Area, and I was, again, we sponsored something similar to this in the Bay Area, and via, you know, the hashtag lucky we live Hawaii.
Yeah.
You had to wear a suit.
Mm-hmm.
So the participants had to wear suits to their presentation. So thankful you don't have to do that here in Hawaii.
Yeah, no, we're not crazy. We know I have no idea what this is, a new venue. And I don't think oh yeah, he's still here. Garrett, what's this venue like? Do you know? Have you seen it? I think he's still here.
Yeah, it's the multi-purpose room at West Oahu. So it's a fairly large rectangular space, large meeting room.
Does it have a stage type area, or is it?
trying to remember. We don't normally do the raised stage. They actually might have one if you need one.
Yeah.
But because of the size, you know,
Yeah.
at least there will at least be podium in the front. It is air conditioned,
Oh,
so
good. Shoot.
you're right. You're not gonna walk up and sweat. I will check on the stage thing if that's
We don't need a stage. I just, some places I have them built in. So, one of a couple of the rooms we've used in the past, the stage is there. And it's a hassle for them to it can be taken out, but they're always like, do you need us to take it out? So I didn't know whether this was a situation where it was permanently in or permanently out, right? So, yeah.
it's a pretty flexible space. I think I heard you mention earlier you're gonna do a table of the judges in the front, so you know that'll be their view, right?
Yeah, and then there'll be chairs around for all the visitors. We'll also have tables for the sponsors so you can go and thank them and support them. I just got a message from somebody that said maybe we should consider to have a professional dress award. So the most professionally dressed. But again, there's there's New York City dress, there's West Coast dress, and then there's Aloha dress, which is all considered professional. So it's very fast. I used to live on the East Coast and work in Boston and New York, and ties that were so tight for guys, right? And women were, barely at the time I was out there that it was not even a great idea to wear pants if you were a woman. So just so you know, things change, and as you go west, it gets more comfortable what you wear. So yeah, but yeah, well, I think we will stick with Aloha business casual. I'll put it that way. How's that sound to everybody? So, and with that note, George just showed up. He's 2 minutes early. Yay, George. He's not quite on yet. Irwin, thank you so much. He had some amazing pointers, and we will be seeing him at the final because he's one of our judges. So he gave you a lot of hints of what he's gonna be looking for. Be comfortable up there. So practice. Thank you, Irwin. This was really well, and it's different from our pitch training, by the way. So this was how to do the pitch, where the pitch training is how to create the pitch, which is a little different. So this was definitely timely and helpful to putting together the correct process. So
Mahalo. Thanks for having me. Good luck, everybody.